All right, folks, good evening to you. Welcome to another date on the Journalist Hangout Show. I'm Citizen Jones. Today on the program, Chief Medical Officer confirms that 5 persons have tested positive at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital for coronavirus. Now, concerns grow over safety of the Maiduguri Damboa Road in Borno State as Boko Haram kidnaps women, ambush and kill troops. And later on in the show, suspected Nigerian fraudsters Ramon Abbas, aka Hushpuppi, extradited to the United States. I'm hanging out with BKO Babadi Jide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, you were MIA last week, so you are back in town. I trust you have recovered from your trip.
I was bereaved.
Okay, you were.
I lost a brother-in-law, so.
I'm sorry about this.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, via Skype, we will team up with our colleagues, Charles Ideho, and of course, Mayor Akimpelu. As you can see, the team is ready. I hope you are. Now, let's go. You know, tell the whole world that there's God and they believe you readily, but tell them the paint is wet. They have to test it to be sure. Cross River State, one of the 2 outstanding entities yet to yield to the COVID-19 prevalence, is in the news. About 5 persons have tested positive for the dreaded coronavirus at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. Professor Ikpeme confirmed the grim development on Thursday, saying the outcome was a result of the polymerase, I hope I got that, polymerase chain technique, PCR. But Governor Benedict Ayade insists that insinuating that Cross River was concealing its true COVID-19 status is mischievous. Doubt is indeed an uncomfortable condition, Jide.
you know,
Oh boy.
the report came barely 24 hours after the governor and members of his team posted photographs in which they appear to be celebrating the COVID-19 free status.
Okay.
The supposedly free status of Cross River State. Then this report came. The truth is, 5 samples taken to the NCDC approved laboratory in Abakaliki. 2 of the samples belong to hospital staff, you know, and the hospital has continued to treat those staff. You see, I've said it before that these governors, they know that it's expensive to manage COVID-19 because once your citizens go down to it or are afflicted by it, it is the responsibility of the government to take care of those citizens. They know that it's expensive.
The bills.
If you ask the Lagos people, they will tell you that it's such an expensive thing to do. And Lagos is getting the private sector involved now to assist them to take away some of the burden, to help them bear some of the burden. But instead of these governors to be creative, they prefer to simply lie to the rest of us that no, it is their state is COVID-19 free. There are 50 states in America. Have we heard that one state in America is COVID-19 free?
Have we not heard that about 24 states are still facing more strains?
Yes.
As we speak?
Yes, because some of them as a result of the protests.
Yeah.
Some of them because the government decided to open up too early. You know, the American economy added more jobs around May and June. But those gains will be reversed anytime from now because a lot of those states have seen clearly, states like Texas, you know, they've seen clearly that they open up too early. So some of those jobs gained during that period could again be lost as people make up their minds to protect themselves. So the PCR technique was used. Governor Ayade is not a doctor. He cannot...
But he's a scientist.
He's a scientist, but that's not his area. You can be a scientist and be illiterate in some areas. It's not his area. He's not a Professor Tomori, for example, a world-class Nigerian doctor. He's not. No matter how he tries to pretend that he's one, he's not. He cannot talk about these issues with finality when that is not his area. So and that's what they are saying.
All right.
You said you preferred the PCR technique. Now the PCR technique has been used. So what have you got to say now?
But again, as a counterpoint, if the governor of Kogi State insists the whole thing is a conspiracy, how do you react?
I react with derision. The governor has turned himself into just a laughing stock without knowing it. With his necessary arrogance, trying to force an opinion on everyone and trying to mislead our people. Because this is what, look, subject what you are saying to test.
Yeah.
Why are you suppressing test?
Open
the more you open up, when we were not able to test so many people in our country, the figures were low. But I can tell you, from the moment when we increased capacity for testing, now we have at least 40 test sites in our country, which is small. South Africa alone has more than 380 testing units. What are we talking about? And that's why when you look at the figure, some Nigerians think that, oh, it's too high. The number of infected persons in Nigeria is too high. They need to find out how many people are infected in South Africa. It's by far higher than Nigeria because the capacity to test is bigger.
Okay. Let's turn things over now to our colleagues at the other end of the line. Charles Ideho is standing by. Charles, how do you come in here?
Well, I will not depart. I'm not going to be towing another line from what Babajide told earlier, because when you look at Ben Ayade, before the coming of COVID-19, his name was almost always in the news for developmental purpose and all that. So people were hailing him and were being applauded. But I think a man who is as educated as he is, a professor for that matter, a professor, and I suppose that professors will even hold up the torch for all of us to follow him. But it's not showing us the example of a prof. I mean, when Ben Ayade won that election, people like us were happy that indeed we are beginning to have eggheads as prof at the hands of affair. But what he is doing now, for me, I think is too pedestrian. Because when you look at the case on our hands, it is what requires everybody to join hands together. This is not the time for you to be denying.
Go on. The line to Charles is a little naughty. We expect to reestablish contact with him. But Charles, you are back on the line.
Hello? Yeah. What I was saying is that if there's no way he can do it alone. All of us, the 36 states plus Abuja, we're all fused together. That's why we have this mobility everywhere. So if he wants to take Cross River out of Nigeria, it's not going to work for him. He cannot do anything that will isolate him. All we need to do, as educated as he is, as well traveled as he is, I think he needs to join forces with the federal government and other state officials to ensure that we kick coronavirus out of the system. All of us, when Ebola came here, we all had a concerted effort involving everybody, both the federal government, the state government, and even the private institution. Everybody, we all join hands together, and we kick Ebola out of this way. So if he wants to look at how he can say, okay, he wants to give governance for his people, good governance, or he needs to do it to ensure that people enjoy good health. As we look at it now, we have not, look at the five persons they have tested. Out of them are 5 medical officers. So all you need to do is that I think he needs to settle down, in fact, and do what is right. Yeah, exactly. So all this grandstanding is not going to work for us. It's not going to work. That's my opinion. The grandstanding he is posing is not going to work because he is well educated, he's well traveled. He was, as I said earlier, he should be holding the torch up for us to follow him. But what he's doing now is not right at all.
Charles, but if you place what you have said against the backdrop of the fact that two particular governors, Kogi, namely Yahaya Bello of Kogi and Ayade of Cross River, have elected to distance themselves from the madding crowd. You are asking, is there anything they know we don't know? Conspiracy theories are flying all over the place.
Well, that of Ben Ayade is understandable because everything in Nigeria, we always tie politics to it because the political divide. Ayade is PDP, the central government is APC. But how about the Jide's former state, the governor of Jide's former state? He is APC, and he's even seen to be a godson of the president. So why he himself is doing this, I can't tell. I'm not sure Jide will be able to tell. Anybody will be able to tell. But what we are saying is that the people of Kogi State, they need to be given everything that requires so that they can have good head to run whatever business they want to run. So they need to go back now and rethink. There's no way for you to start replacing all this negativity in a system that has, in a value that has almost ravaged the whole world. So it's America doing 419. It's Brazil doing 419. Look at the down under country, Australia and New Zealand. They've done something about. And I think they have been able to root out the coronavirus. They say all we need to do is to say, how did they do it? We can copy and paste here rather than all these things that shenanigans. By my reckoning, I think it's just shenanigans, and we don't need it at all. We don't.
Yeah, and only they. It said God created the mosquito, and only He knows why. But so we can put the same picture here. Only the two governors know why they are doing this.
No, I know why. I know why they are
because
doing
I
this.
don't.
I know why, and I've said it repeatedly, that the day Mr. President says, governors, all the money that you are spending on coronavirus, I will take over the funding. This rubbish will not be happening again. I can bet it with you. Because it's that money that they do not want to spend. When a governor goes to hire 98s, do you take that kind of governor seriously? What are you doing with 98s? Of course, we are going to pay their wages. So if you spend so much money,
they are not on minimum wage.
If you spend whatever it is, even if it's 1 naira, it's still money. That money could be used somewhere else. What do you need 98s for? Oh, special assistant on rice, special assistant on cassava, special assistant on gari. That's the funny thing that is happening in Cross River. Go and check. Special assistant on frivolities. So we are saying that money can be used elsewhere to boost the economy of the state.
Yeah.
Not simply hiring aides and just wasting government funds. Because governors see themselves as a god with a small letter G. This is what is happening. Have you that you don't want to spend money on coronavirus, what is the state of the roads in your state capital? Okay. What is the state of the roads in your state capital? Let us see. Let us see whether you'll be able to justify what you are doing. The primary role of government is the welfare of the citizens.
No more, no less.
If you are experiencing collapse of your health sector, then it means that you are not doing enough as a governor. This is the thing. You ask for PCR. The PCR now has shown that in your state that these people have this. People are dying in Cross River, but the governor continues to deceive himself. How is it possible in a country in Nigeria? All the states around you, they have it. People pass through your state. How is it not possible? If even Almajiris, the funny Nigerians who say, oh, it is a disease for the rich people. Almajiris came into Kaduna State. Governor El-Rufai subjected them to test. They tested positive. Are the Almajiris also rich people? Okay. If you are saying this disease is for rich people, I mean, we should stop all this joke. We play too much in our country.
Charles, in taking this home, therefore, you want to ask Governor Ayade, Professor Benedict Ayade, is not fighting for a third term in office. So it's not about next term politics. It still boggles the mind. Why would he fight it, swimming against the tide?
Well, I think he's just playing to the gallery. It's also playing what the pedestrian people will play by not accepting that this thing is real. I think he has a lot of lessons to learn from his counterpart in Abia State, who went spiritual the other day to say because Abia State is the only state named in the Bible that coronavirus has nothing to do with Abia. But today now, I mean, the governor can. I mean, thank God he's alive to tell his stories. So I think what he needs to be doing is that those who are around him should tell him. I mean, he has people who were there before. He has ex-governor Elieli Moke. He has ex-governor Donald Duke. I think all well-meaning cross-riverians will come together and talk senses. In the manner of speaking, talk senses told him that this thing he did, this line he's towing will not pay his people at the end of the day, because all he's doing now is that there's no way he can gain economically. There's no way he can gain. He wants to say, okay, he wants to do anything, that he wants to show up the revenue in the state. It cannot happen, because you can't isolate a state. In the state, in a country of about 36 states, you want to isolate your state from me to say, okay, we are coronavirus free. We want to run the economy. It's not going to work, because as I said, we're all interconnected. So I'm going to be appealing to the well-meaning cross-riverians, those who have served the state before, to come together and tell him that this road he's taking is an ignominious road that will not take him anywhere. He's going to spend another 2 years or so, he will be out of government. And then the everyday people who are cross-riverians are the ones that will bear the brunt. So he is already rich. He has money. I mean, he can feed his own family and all that. But what about the everyday people who can't do that? Who will be down with coronavirus, and then nobody's going to look after them? So I think, as I said earlier, Donald Duke, Elieli Moken, and other people who have served Nigeria meritoriously, they should come together and talk senses into his head, so that he can travel on a path of truth, travel on the path of faith, so that the people can begin to benefit from the gains that Lagos is already recording, from the gains that other states that have taken it very seriously are already recording, so that he can join the committee of other states, and all of us will fight and take coronavirus out of our system, so that we can have our lives back. That is what I think should happen.
Jide, and to think that Governor Ayade is undertaking ambitious projects in the thick of this coronavirus makes you want to wonder if he has a priority list and he grades them.
I'm not interested in looking at what project he's doing. As far as I'm concerned, he's not the best governor in Nigeria.
It's not about being best.
Yes, but you see, there are governors who have even done better than him, and they've not been in office for as long as he's been in office. All of these things, we gain nothing from this grandstanding. Look, let me read what Professor of Virology, Professor Yewale Tomori, one of the truly world-class Nigerian doctors, yes, said. While the federal government was telling us about the danger of COVID-19, one state government, demonstrating a high level of arrogant ignorance, kept saying there is no COVID-19 in the state and used his executive power to wish off COVID-19. The other plastic professor governor displayed enough arrogance to show his limitations, propounding theories that are closer to fake than still. He also deliberately put stumbling blocks in the path of truth with flamboyant display of masterful acting. See,
end quote.
Yes, end quote. The quote, the man could go on and on. You know, that's the way of academics. The truth is, any governor who says COVID-19 does not exist in a state is just being dishonest and does not fear God. Let the people be subjected to tests. Let tests come to your door. When those tests come to your door, by your door I mean your state, we will be able to determine that. That is when we'll get empirical evidence. It's not simply to invite journalists because you have the capacity to sit in front of a microphone and be saying, no, this thing is brought to Nigeria by politicians, this thing is imported to Nigeria, this thing is fake, it does not exist. Talk is cheap. Let us subject your claims to scientific verification. When we subject your claims to scientific verification and the tests prove that those people are negative, I will be the one to say, I salute. But I know that I cannot salute because you are just lying to people.
But then
there's no salute that you get from me.
You are preempting the situation.
Let him allow testing to take place. Let the harassment of tertiary medical institutions in both states stop. If you do not allow people to take samples, if you do not submit samples for testing, how do we determine whether your people are free of it or not? You are not allowing testing to take place. You are suppressing testing. And then you come and lie to us that, no, there is no COVID. Who will believe that? Talk is cheap, as I said. Let us subject your claims to scientific verification. That is the only way by which people like us can agree. How can a disease that has breached international borders, you now say your state is in Nigeria, that it cannot happen in your state? What are you doing differently? Yeah. In terms of sanitation, are you better than the rest of us put together? When in your state they are practicing open defecation, people defecate in the open. With no care in the world, they are not using masks. They are not the measures that we have taken in Lagos, for example, to protect ourselves. People are walking about, they are not taking those measures. And you want us to believe that those states are clean. Yeah. It's a lie from the pit of hell.
Charles, we're back with you. In closing now, you want to look at, you can predict or project into the next 2 weeks. Recall, Charles, that
yes,
about 2 or 3 weeks ago, a local government chairman in Cross River fell to complications associated with COVID-19. And yet our governor is still not persuaded. I insist, there must be something he knows we don't know. Again, it's about the people, the health of the people.
Yes.
Are we not in trouble here?
We are in trouble. We are indeed in trouble, because when you now find people who are supposed, as I said earlier, who are supposed to be looking up to in terms of people who are intellectuals, people who should have this, who are supposed to be the reservoir of knowledge, then they are towing the part of disgrace, as by my reckoning. I think we are in trouble. I'm sure you only heard about a local government. How about Honorable Godwin Akwaji, who recently died? He is a House of Assembly member of the state, representing Obudu constituency in that place. But we're told that the man may have had symptoms that were relating to that of COVID-19. But they said that the man died of malaria and fever, and that was all. They said nobody should talk. The man died of malaria and fever, and that was all. That nobody should mention anything around COVID around the man, even though the head of where he was treated said, okay, he may have had symptoms that were relating to that of COVID-19, but this government said no, the man died of malaria, and that was all. So I think, as I said earlier, no, it's only when anybody who maybe somebody who is a psychic, somebody who is into maybe metaphysics also, who can reach into his mind, be able to read it and tell us what the man has in mind. Because it beats my imagination. I don't know what he wants to gain from the line he's towing. I don't know what he wants to gain from it, because it's not going to pay him, going to pay anybody. I mean, the cross-variance. Anyway, we need to do, as I said earlier, people need to go get around him, talk to him, because there is no way Ben Ayade will win this war. This war is a war that has ravaged the whole country, all over the world. And I don't see how a state in Nigeria will be a state that will say it indeed free of this pandemic. I don't know how he intends to do that. Maybe he knows what we don't know, as you said earlier. Maybe he has other solution. I don't know. I'm not sure Babajide knows that.
Okay. Even if he knew,
I don't know. He's
not in a hurry to want to know.
There's nothing that he knows that people don't know. The only thing he knows that we don't know is the arrogance to say, no, I'm the governor there for whatever he said.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is the structure. The structure of identifying the person who suffers from COVID-19 is the problem. Let me explain the structure. In every state, it is the commissioner for health in the state that if the health institution suspect that somebody is afflicted, they will escalate that suspicion to the health commissioner in the state. The health commissioner then comes around and then says, okay, when did you people receive him? What are the symptoms? The health commissioner at that point can say, no, we do not agree that this is COVID-19. And that's the end of the story. So in such a situation, because the commissioner does not want the state to take that burden, he gets magisterial about it and says, that is the end, that is the end. That's the structure.
Okay.
So how do you convince these health commissioners who clearly fear their governors to agree when they show them someone who is dying from COVID-19, that indeed this person is suffering from COVID-19? That structure is what they are exploiting.
All right, then we'll leave the discussion here, again, we allow you to make up your minds. But then, when you elect to swim against the tide, you must be ready to convince us it was worth all the trouble. Wish you luck. Now, you know, we have a mental emergency in our dear country. Boko Haram insurgents have thrown big spanners in the works, and we can't live our normal lives again, or so it seems. It's just as well that the federal government has eased the lockdown by ordering a resumption of interstate travels again. Now, concerns over safety of people on the Maiduguri-Damboa axis have heightened yet again with the reported kidnap of women and the ambush of fighting troops in the area. We are in the throes of death every second of the day, Jude, as we sit here.
Yes, the area is significant to the Boko Haram fighters because to the left of that road is the access to Sambisa. It also serves as a crossing point to Borno North. You know, the Boko Haram has literally taken Borno North as his own...
as a stronghold.
Yes, as a stronghold. So, another thing that makes that road extremely dangerous is that from Maiduguri, like 85 kilometers up to Damboa, you will not see settlements. So, which is what these people, which is the sort of thing that they want. Civilian settlements are not many in that area along that road. From Maiduguri, right close to Damboa, more than 80 kilometers, you see the area just left like that. So it's a good hibernation point. And then, of course, from that area, apart from Sambisa, they can easily access their former spiritual headquarters. That is a place called Alagarno. So that was their stronghold for a long time. And then Talala, the stronghold of Boko Haram for years was in that place, Talala. So it's important for them to find a place where they can easily move into Sambisa, a place that they can use to cross to Goza, to Isge, Chibok, all of that area, and also get to Borno North through Benishek and other areas. So that's the significance that it holds. And that was why that area that road was adjudged too dangerous for people to use for years. It was closed for years. But after some time, the military opened the road and continued to escort traders from Maiduguri to other parts of the state through that road, those of them who are going for trading. So usually the escorts will get to a certain point, and then the ones who are coming from maybe Damboa and other places, they want like a relay. The escorts they will meet at a middle point. The ones going to Maiduguri will be taken over by the ones who led from. You understand the point I'm making?
Yeah, that is a sign of an entrenched group. It is entrenched.
It is entrenched. So I'm saying that the army then designed a way to protect the people, lead convoys of cars, of buses, of traders, of trucks, of business people from community to community. So they will now meet at a middle point. These escorts will take over at that middle point, take the people who are coming from Maiduguri from that point, take them to their destination. Then those of them who are coming from maybe Damboa or somewhere else at that middle point, they will receive them. The other group will then take them So this is what we have lived with. It's a dangerous place, and ambushes are common. You know, kidnapping of women too are common. Remember those wives of police officers that were kidnapped the other day?
Yeah.
It was on that road.
Yeah.
Again, last week, they attacked people on that road. They attacked the army. There was an ambush on the army, which was really fatal. You know, we lost some soldiers.
Yeah.
Then, of course, they kidnapped 8 women and killed one of the women who refused to cooperate with them. So that place remains a dangerous area, and all we can do is try to fortify the area to limit the regularity of attacks and to bring those Boko Haram guys to justice.
Charles, but you know, all this is coming against the backdrop of a president commander-in-chief who last week invited security chiefs in and spoke heart-to-heart with them, giving them the marching orders. So we're still waiting with bated breath.
I hope that will work. But I read in the newspaper that the chief of army staff had decided to say now they are going to be going after those who may be funding Boko Haram, which they ought to have done, in my own opinion, they ought to have done earlier enough. Because if you look at how the U.S. and other nations have been able to deal a heavy blow on insurgency all over the world, what they have done is that they target those who fund the insurgency. Once they're able to locate them, and they cut off funding. They cut off all the links to your funding all over. And once they're able to cut that off, then they will cripple them. I also liken it to the anthill. Remember anthill? If you destroy an anthill, give it about 4 or 5 days, they will kill because the queen is still in existence. But by the time you remove the queen from the ant colony, you have what you are doing. You have this. So what I think they should do is that they need to be more coordinated. When you look at all you find is that the military always run against ambush. The question I ask is that are there people within the system feeding this insurgent? Transfer information.
Oh dear, we are having technical problems with the line to Charles there, but I think he made his point to the effect that we should have done. You know, if the COAS says we are thinking about going after the sponsors, there's a middle point there. You know, it's sometimes you're wondering if this will come from a corner of the head.
I don't know who are the sponsors. How many years will it take us to discover who the sponsors are?
From 2002.
We have grappled with these guys for many years. First, from their days as Icomog boys, and then they metamorphosed into Boko Haram. From 2009, when they took up arms against the state and were killing policemen in Bauchi, in Maiduguri, we knew that a terrorist group had been born. So, and terrorist groups need funding, serious funding. Those weapons that they use, some of those weapons are even superior to the weapons of the army, which they buy from the black market. The black markets are buzzing at this time because there are weapons from Mali, weapons from Libya that come into our country through Niger Republic, through Chad. These are countries that Borno State shares international borders with, shares with Cameroon, with Niger, with Chad. You know, so these weapons come in, and they need money to buy these weapons. So it is important that you stop access to funding, but we need to also do our best to defeat them militarily, because it is important to defeat them militarily. If we don't defeat them militarily, these guys will still be going from community to community to kill our people, and this is not what we want. How can Boko Haram go to a community in Borno State and kill about 81 people? The governor Zulum was told when they got there that they counted 81 bodies in one day. In one day. And that was not the only attack in that week. They had the guts to go to the garrison town of Monguno, where we have enough soldiers on ground to go and test the resolve of our soldiers. Okay. So how much longer can this go on? You know, in the month of June alone, Boko Haram attacked mobile local government 16 times. 16 times, just one local government, mobile. So we need to crush these guys. We need to defeat them. We have no option.
I guess there's no middle point here. Everything that needs to be said had been voiced concerning Boko Haram and how to overcome them. But quickly, let's thank Charles Ideho for his time. Charles, thank you for your time. Until the next time, bye-bye now. Okay then, we'll take a break. Folks, welcome back. You know, I've heard that it is morally wrong for a con artist to keep his money. It therefore begs the question, if you are going to be found out, why indulge in it? Some folks are diehard. Nigerian fraudsters Ramon Abbas, aka Hushpuppi, and comrade in crime Olalekan Jacob Bonle, aka Mr. Woodbury, have been ferried to the United States by the Dubai police for defrauding about 2 million people, mostly Americans. FBI Director Christopher Wray thanked the UAE authorities for reining in the two notorious cyber criminals. Does it still take two to tango in this wise? We have Mayor Akinpelu, he's ready. Does it still take two to tango?
Does it still take two to tango in this wise? We have Mayor Akinpelu, he's ready. Does it still take two?
Yeah, I think that part of the problem is that we have a lot of people that are greedy, because you need to be greedy for you. You need to be.
Go on, Mayor. Go on. All right.
You need to be greedy to be able to fall victim of.
Okay then, let's yeah, Jide, but does it still take two to tango in this wise, if you see what I mean?
Sometimes it won't take more than two, if you understand what I mean. These guys are international fraudsters, and they have their foot soldiers in different parts of the world. They link up effectively with other criminals like them. In short,
so there's a ring.
There's a ring. You can see that sometimes when they bust one person, it leads them to several other people that they've been doing this business, this fraudulent business together. So they don't always work in isolation. They work. They have gangs of their own. They have people that they work with. Otherwise, you risk not being very successful. It is that link, that international link, that helps many of them to be extremely wealthy, to succeed at what they do. You know, someone like Hushpuppi now, I'm sure that when his trial gets underway, he will, or even as they have arrested him, is most likely in the course of interrogation mention some people that they've been doing it together.
You think he will sing?
That is if they don't already.
No.
know some of these people by tapping their lines and all that. I imagine that the Americans, the FBI, will do a fantastic job of unraveling other people that Hushpuppi had been working with.
Yeah. Mayor is back. So, Mayor, you've heard this statement that society will prepare the crime, the criminal will commit it. We produce these guys. Did our society produce them?
Absolutely, because people like Hushpuppi are young people who did not have opportunity to be able to achieve their dreams because of the negligence of government. Because another problem is that we have lost our values. Before, hard work used to pay. Our parents will grow up with our parents telling us that hard work pays. But now, young people see that those who are making waves in the society are people who did not really work for it. So they've told themselves that what is important is for them to be rich. And you will see a lot of young people doing Yahoo and becoming fraudsters. And there are a lot of them. It's ironic, but in Dubai is the new home of fraudsters, and there are a lot of them there. And Hushpuppi is not even one of the major players in Dubai. That's the reality. Hushpuppi is not one of the major players. There are a lot of people who are bigger than Hushpuppi in this fraud business. And it's so sad because the society, Hushpuppi used to be a celebrity in Nigeria. A lot of music stars, a lot of on-air personalities, a lot of our politicians took photographs with him, celebrate him. He has millions of followers on Instagram. And it's because we are a society where anything goes, who don't value good name like we used to do. So that's why people like Hushpuppi, to some people, it's a celebrity, it's a star.
Yeah, celebrity as who?
As a first star.
Oh, really?
Because you see, a lot of people, before in this country, when you cannot account for your money or what you do, your parents will not even support you. Now we have parents who follow their kids to go and do jazz to be able to do what they call Yahoo Plus. There are people who pray, who get pastors and imams to pray for their kids who they know that are fraudsters. I know people who want to hang out with these people when they know they are fraudsters. A lot of people know that Hushpuppi is a fraudster, but Hushpuppi is a very popular person, especially on the social media.
Yeah, but you called him a celebrity, and it's more like giving a new meaning to the word celebrity.
No, you see, when I say celebrity, it's a celebrity on the social media because when you are on Instagram and you have over a million followers and everybody wants to relate with you, yes, you can be a celebrity in a negative sense, because a lot of people, it's just like musically, Naira Marley, he's a star. But Naira Marley is not a good example for the youth. But he's a very popular artist, and what he does is just to exhibit madness. And people, he has a lot of followers who call themselves Malians. So it's like that. You can be a celebrity, you can be involved in negative things and still be a celebrity.
All right. Jide, last week we started this thing going, and Mayor, my brother, our colleague, said, when I challenged him, the Nigerian media will make them celebrities. He said, no. You share the sentiment?
No, we don't. It's not the Nigerian media.
Okay.
The new media makes them celebrities. Because if you like, don't run their stories. They are on Instagram. More people will probably will even see them on Instagram than on TV. For example, have we ever brought him to TVC to do an interview? He will not even want
but
it.
It will give you a good story if you
He
ask
will
him
not
to
even want it. That is not the crowd that he craves.
Okay.
The crowd that he craves are not those that we are talking about. The Instagram generation, those are the people that he's looking for. And one thing that makes me happy is that the EFCC has continued to go after these boys. Look at Monfa, that is facing money laundering charges amounting to about 14 billion naira. Somebody who was operating like a brood exchange operator without a license. So we need to go to the root of this whole thing. Parents who shamelessly would encourage their children to go into advanced fee fraud just because of the prospect of big money. They are the ones to blame.
No, hold on. This is not to insult you. You hear in the Yoruba country, Ayen Shirue, the world they do am.
Ayen Shirue?
Yeah.
But Ayekaye lon Shirue.
Okay, they don't say Ayekaye. They say
no,
Ayen
I'm redefining it.
Okay. Ayekaye.
You know? Yes, Ayekaye ne is the bad people who will encourage such a thing. And look, when morality was given so much assent in our country,
yeah,
the Yorubas will say, "Omo osagbafo, onkwaso wale."
Kakagogenika.
That your child is not
a laundryman.
A laundryman is bringing clothes home, and you are not asking questions. So, you see, our society had not always encouraged this kind of thing.
So what could have happened?
But these days, what
could have happened?
Parenting
gone all right.
Parenting is collapsing under our eyes. These days, parents can't even, the way some of us were brought up. That's not the way children are brought up these days. Access to the internet, access to TV, Netflix, and the rest of them is ruining children. Upbringing is not good. Upbringing is becoming a reality. You think that by spanking your child, that is such a bad thing.
Yeah.
But you are watching those children degenerate. You are not doing anything about them. At the end of the day, if you are not careful, if it's even that child, when he goes to join bad gang, he will be the one to take your life. So people must bring up their children in the right way.
Mayor, a very popular musician, Fuji musician, I think his name is Obesere. He sang this song. Ijide will help, my Yoruba is fractured, but I'll try it. It says, Egbe kegbe lon dere kere.
No, it's Wasiu that sang it.
Okay, Wasiu. Egbe kegbe lon dere.
That's his friend.
Okay.
That's Mayor's friend that sang this song.
So, Egbe kegbe lon dere kere, ere kere lon doyun koyun lon domokomo, and so on and so on.
Omokomo lon nile lara.
Yeah. So we are there already, Mayor.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just the same thing that we've been discussing. It has to do with parenting. Because when normally the development of the child is supposed to start from home and then to school, but now parents have failed in their duty as parents. So most of the things that the young people learn now is from their peers, and a lot of times they learn bad things. And when they do exactly like this, when you join bad gangs, you learn bad things, and you end up badly. That is what that song was trying to say. King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, my friend, is a philosopher, and what he's trying to say is that if you don't take care of your child and you allow your child to keep bad gang, it will end up badly. And that is what has happened to Hushpuppi, because it is okay when you do fraud in Nigeria because of our judicial system and all that. But if you do fraud and you get extradited to America, you are in for it. Minimum is 25 years, 25 to 30 years.
Mayor,
and you will realize, that fraud does not really pay, because by the time you stay, and you may be even without parole. So when you spend 25 years in jail in America, by the time you come out, you are already an old man, and you will be full of regrets for living the kind of life, so that your Gucci life is just for some few years. And I don't think that is worth it.
Yeah. Did you hear that? Gucci life. Mayor, many thanks for your time. Jide, but you and I and Mayor are parents, are fathers.
Yes, we have to bring up our children the right way. See, and those things that these children, that is like these children, they are ephemeral. They are not permanent.
Oh, yeah.
They see Hushpuppi in private jets. They see Hushpuppi in 5-star hotels wearing the fantastic dresses, Gucci and all that. And a lot of them, more than 2 million followers on Instagram. Are they not human beings who are following a criminal? That has to stop.
So sometimes I wonder if it is true or if it is not true when Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the tragedy of the human race is that it will eventually die of civilization. So we are almost there.
Yes.
If we are not there already.
Yes, the civilization is killing us through the internet.
All right, folks, I'm out of here. Jide, let's go have a little.
Yes, after all, we are not in the slammer like Hushpuppi.
We are not.
We are not. We are free. We are not in jail.
Oh yeah. That's it on the program for today. You may also see the program on other platforms. We'll display on the screen. Plus the YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel remains the same. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.